So my name is James Mullany. I'm the Group Director of Media at Beeby Clark+Meyler, BCM for short. And I've been with BCM since 2010. And we are a full-service independent agency based out of Connecticut, helping brands with all stages of digital marketing campaigns, research, planning, buying, analytics, and often work. My background within the agency is the media planning and buying, working with brands across industries like B2B, travel, CPG, retail, often planning for and optimizing towards a cost per sale or cost per lead for those clients. For us, it's really a game changer in terms of allowing us to take this opportunity to revise a lot of our service offerings and processes, revise a lot of our skill sets, revise a lot of our certifications. And for BCM, and given an agency of our size, so a smaller independent agency size, we're pretty nimble. We don't ever try to focus on building our own proprietary tech. We really have always focused on exploring partners and technologies that are out of Silicon Valley or international that are just developing faster than what we'd be able to do internally. And I think we really started with AI application within our media programs and processes maybe about 7 or 8 years ago. But the speed of expansion within the past year or two has been pretty tremendous. And that's from research to media planning and buying to analytics. All stages of that is where we've seen application of AI advancements. It's not easy, that's for sure. And what we really lean on is our experience just over time in evaluating and identifying these tools and resources. So one of the ways we are identifying tools is we promote it quite a bit internally. So we have agency-wide competitions with AI tools. So we've had competitions of AI prompts for your daily life, and there's prizes for submissions that included tools that people have never heard of before or never used, because if you didn't offer that incentive, I'm sure a lot of the submissions would be ChatGPT oriented, as it's the most widely used and understood platform, at least in my opinion. And we've also developed groups internally, such as the AI Country Club, which is a application-based group where we really just wanted to allow those that wanted to spend a couple hours a week, couple hours a month in person working on exercises related to AI. So we really push each other to start using tools that probably would be otherwise undiscovered within our teams or within the disciplines of the different members of our teams. So that could be forcing ourselves to use a new PowerPoint visualization AI tool, or forcing ourselves to use a tool that I used most recently on an AI Country Club meeting was Pictory or Pictory, which I would have never probably come across and applied. And then also participation in the AI Marketers Guild is another resource for us to start identifying these partners and tools. And there's a history that we have just being as a smaller independent agency. We have developed a set of criteria that allow us to help discover these tools, but in some cases, more importantly, just help us vet and identify what tools and technologies are the right fit for us and the right fit for our clients. Because when you have thousands available, you do need to codify what you're looking for so that you can begin to cull through and identify which options are most applicable for us. we just wanted the active hand raisers. I think forcing certain tools and solutions, there's always a time and place for that. Forcing the discoverability of tools and solutions, that's a difficult task to achieve. We really felt that there was a lot of excitement coming out of a few competitions we did agency-wide that then became, let's just make this extracurricular. We know that individuals are doing this type of research and discoverability on their own. If we brought them together in a country club format and said, here's a dedicated budget for, a lot of tools are not free, or the free trial is 7 days and you get brought onto client requests that take away from that time. So let's have a dedicated budget. And we'll see who's the active hand raisers that want to apply to be a part of that group. We've seen those that are junior, less than 6 months in the industry, and one of the company co-founders, to directors and managers in between it. And discipline-wise, within our group, we have representation from creative to client services, programmatic, social, search. So it's really across the agency function, and that worked out in our favor, but it definitely wasn't a requirement to have representation from the different groups. Our position is no different with AI than it was with any other tool, like CRM tools to media software. Silicon Valley beats Madison Avenue time and time again. And there's a graveyard of logos of companies that were developed from Madison Avenue that were committed the world and are no longer standing. And so that is how our investment strategy is really, looking to tools that are tech-based, tech-built, and it's not necessarily Silicon Valley. There's been a lot of tools that have been really powerful, from my experience, like a lot of great tools out of Israel that we look to identify. And really for us, like, we've been able to codify that based on that experience. So for example, our ability to identify these tools is one thing, but our ability to identify companies that fit what we're looking for. So, and being able to package that for our clients. There's a lot of work that goes into it and a lot of trial and error for example, legal terms. Contractually, it can be difficult for brands to come to an agreement with some of these tech tools, or be able to prioritize this type of agreement with their legal team that says, okay, we've got 45 things we're working on, you're at number 46. So our ability to have an agreement that we know will work with these various tech solutions allows us to help our brands get into market faster by applying these tools as opposed to taking on themselves. Investing in tools that already exist and coming to agreements with those tools also helps with the adoption cycle. Like, when you work with so many different platforms and tools, like, you do become assimilated to the language and workflows of those tools, as opposed to having to build from scratch or try to change an existing tool. We really find that there's a language and a culture of the tools themselves that help you, that just by exposure to many, you're able to start on second base as opposed to home plate. And then the other element of working with externally for these tools is also we identify true partners. So in our early stages of vendor research, we know pretty fast what vendors and companies are seeking out agencies like us to shift and shape their product, and who won't be giving you the time of day. And that's important because there's many tools that are early enough that really just want proof of concept, pilot, case studies, feedback, and that has been a point of feedback we've gotten for a while, which is that we're as hands-on with the tech tools with their team as opposed to just an end user. So just to, from our perspective of how a smaller independent agency may go about partnerships is likely not going to be acquiring or building from within. It's using some of that criteria that help us identify partners that work for us, and then we can help our clients advance much faster because of our vetting solution process. It depends on the price point with that time-based. So for example, there's a social creative tool that we use for pre-test optimization. So before we ever even go into market with an ad, we'll have this tool identify and predict how well certain variations will perform versus others, so that before we ever spend a penny on the creative in market, we know that this one, based on billions of ad spend, the data would indicate that's not going to perform well, you shouldn't run it. That tool was $2,500 for a 12-month agreement. We're going to make that type of investment despite the annual commitment. If it's a tool that is 20x that number, maybe not. But that evolving door is why we have developed a tech stack that is under one name that as opposed to individual partner names. So we developed a tech stack called Ventas, which essentially is the backbone of our media offering now. So there's partners and vendors and tech that will move in and out of Ventas, and maybe for certain clients may or may not be used, but that is part of our solution to not have AI be associated with vendor A or vendor B, because it is moving too fast to have a solution or service offering be associated with one technology or one partner. It depends on the client. So we do have, separate from the terms we have with the different AI vendors and tech, the agreements we have with our clients do differ. So some clients require that there's no generative AI. Other clients require that there's a review to understand like the level of impact of that generative AI. For example, we don't recommend that clients use generative AI for a logo or a new slogan and something with really high brand value. So it does depend on each of those partners, each of those brands, more so than the tech-based agreement. Thus far, our solution has been just being transparent with what is driving the ideation or the actual asset production. So knowing that it's being sourced from a stock library, or knowing if an image or knowing if a piece of text may have been assisted through a tool like AnyWord or ChatGPT, and just being transparent with where those sources are coming from. In most cases, the agreements are made in advance with the clients to know who is comfortable with the different aspects and applications of AI. Because if you have to, every round of creative recommendation or activation, the approvals can slow down the process to a level that is unproductive of just time spent or inefficient from a media activation standpoint. We don't want to commit to one tool that that we miss the next wave or the next up and coming company. And I think there are some tools that we've worked with for up to 8 years, and other tools like that have maybe have been up to 2 weeks. So there is a difference in terms of the longevity of the tools that we work with. And the types of tools that we have identified working with most recently have been around this like pre-test optimization phase. So I mentioned our Ventas AI tech stack, or it's really just become the backbone to our media offering. It's really like the pre-campaign stage that we've seen a lot of growth and excitement around. So like before you ever launch a campaign, you're doing the research. The tools and technology that have come out that helped us boost our signal mining portion of Ventas. So utilizing consumer data intelligence tools that employ natural language processing to uncover audience motivations and preferences and values. Like that has escalated quite a bit in terms of how we can identify and develop insights faster and more accurately to inform the creative that's being developed. And then the creative development. There's been immense movement recently around tools that have allowed us to leverage AI from a generative standpoint, or an analysis standpoint to understand, to scale our production, but also in some cases it has helped us cap our production to say these assets as designed aren't going to work as well as this set of assets, don't even go into market. And then of course, and some of the most recent webinars have been around data analysis and analytics. After media has been in market, our ability to uncover insights at scale is so much different today than where it's been in the past. Like I've been with BCM since 2010, and I remember the office days where I was in the office looking at rows of data out to CF and columns out to CF and rows down to 900,000, and culling through specific insights of what ad performed better than this one, but it was with segment A as opposed to segment B and on platform 1 instead of platform 2. The computer vision analytics that are available today to understand image recognition, that it is a lake versus woods versus an ocean, and the ocean pictures outperform lakes and woods, and when having imagery that feature two people or versus a group, and specific language, and the speed and scale that we're able to get from this data is allowing me to no longer have to be in the office till 10:30 looking at individual rows of data. So it's really been helpful for us to boost this Venta AI tech stack, both pre-launch and post-launch evaluation. Where I think a lot of the focus of AI tools can often be mistaken of it's generating copy or it's scaling ad production.
Yeah.
There's so much more intelligence that goes into it and out of it than I think some agencies or some brands are not taking advantage of just yet.